Of all worlds, as far as being a pleasant place to work, enjoying the stories I was telling, enjoying.
Firefly wasn't supposed to become legendary. It was a weird space western that Fox didn't understand, didn't promote, and canceled after 11 episodes. No second chances, no mercy. Just a crew of misfits flying through the black trying to survive. But behind that ship and those characters, nothing went smoothly. Fox deliberately sabotaged the show by airing episodes out of order. Nathan Fillion wasn't supposed to be Malcolm Reynolds, and one actor's death scene in the movie caused such trauma that cast members refused to film near each other for days. These are 20 secrets about Firefly, hidden for decades. And trust me, the bonus fact will make you understand why Fox's interference destroyed something irreplaceable. Number 20. Fox refused to air the 2-hour pilot, first and started the series with episode 2, which confused audiences and destroyed ratings.
You were truthful back in town. These are tough times. A man can get a job. You might not look too close.
Here's the reason Firefly failed, and it wasn't quality. Fox executives hated Joss Whedon's 2-hour pilot, Serenity, and refused to air it as the series premiere. They thought it was too slow, too complicated, and too dark for mainstream audiences. Whedon had crafted a deliberate introduction, establishing each character, the universe, and the crew's dynamics. Fox demanded Whedon film a different episode to premiere the series. Whedon was forced to create The Train Job in just 2 weeks as a rushed replacement pilot. The episode was designed to be watched after audiences already knew the characters, but Fox aired it first on September 20th, 2002. Viewers were completely confused. Who are these people? Why should we care? What's the context? The show started with no introduction, no character establishment, no universe building. Ratings were mediocre because audiences couldn't connect. The actual pilot, Serenity, didn't air until December 14th, 3 months later, and 3 episodes before cancellation. By then, it was too late. Viewers who might have loved the show never got the proper introduction. Fox's interference wasn't incompetence, it was sabotage. They'd already decided they didn't want Whedon's vision and undermined it from day one. Firefly was canceled not because it failed. It was canceled because Fox deliberately ensured it would fail. Number 19. Nathan Fillion wasn't first choice. For Mal Reynolds and Joss Whedon fought Fox for months to cast him over their preferred actor.
Right. We win. Had a good day.
You had the Alliance on you. Criminals and savages.
Nathan Fillion almost wasn't Captain Malcolm Reynolds. Fox executives wanted someone completely different, and Joss Whedon nearly quit over the casting battle. Whedon wrote Mal Reynolds with a specific energy in mind. World-weary, but charming. Defeated, but defiant. He saw Nathan Fillion's work on the sitcom 2 Guys and a Girl, and knew Fillion could balance comedy and darkness. Fox hated the choice. Fillion wasn't a name. He wasn't traditionally handsome enough to be a leading man. He was a sitcom actor with no action experience. Fox executives wanted someone bigger. They pushed hard for another actor whose name was never publicly revealed, but who had more action credentials and more mainstream appeal. Whedon refused to budge. He threatened to walk away from the series if forced to cast Fox's choice. The standoff lasted months during pre-production. Finally, Fox capitulated, but made Whedon's life miserable afterward in retaliation. Network executives never supported Fillion. They constantly criticized his performance. They tried to reduce his screen time in favor of other characters they liked better. Fillion knew he wasn't wanted by the network and carried that rejection throughout filming. The irony is, Nathan Fillion's performance as Mal became iconic. He embodied the character so perfectly that fans can't imagine anyone else. Fox wanted to replace the one element that made Firefly work. Their judgment was catastrophically wrong. Number 18, the entire Serenity ship. Set was built, practically in cost, over $3 million, which Fox resented and used as justification for cancellation.
One of them being that this one was more expensive.
This is a special feature that was not here before. This,
You all know, blinking lights means science.
You push the buttons and they light up. That just, to me, that says...
The Serenity spaceship wasn't CGI. It was a massive practical set that cost a fortune and became ammunition for Fox's cancellation decision. Joss Whedon insisted on building a complete, walkable ship interior. He wanted actors to move through connected spaces naturally. The set was enormous. The cargo bay, the kitchen, the engine room, the bridge, the crew quarters, all connected. Construction cost over $3 million, an astronomical amount for a television series. Fox executives were furious about the expense. They'd approved the budget reluctantly, but immediately regretted it. The set required a massive soundstage. Lighting it was complex and time-consuming. Each episode took longer to film because of the elaborate set layout. Fox executives visited the set during production and were horrified by how much money had been spent. They started calculating costs immediately. Each episode was running over budget. The set couldn't be reused for other productions. It was custom-built exclusively for Firefly. When ratings weren't spectacular, Fox used the expensive set as justification for cancellation. They claimed the show was financially unsustainable. Whedon argued the set was an investment that would pay off over seasons. Fox didn't care. The Serenity set that made the show feel real became the excuse Fox needed to call it. The very thing that made Firefly special was weaponized against its survival. Number 17. Summer Glau was a professional ballerina before acting, and her River Tam fight scenes were choreographed like dance, which she performed without a stunt.
Company excluded.
Let's not be excluding people. That'd be rude. Son of a God!
Summer, Glau brought something unique to River Tam that no other actress could have delivered. Before acting, Glau was a professionally trained ballerina who danced with a touring company. An injury ended her dance career in her late teens. She transitioned to acting, but brought her dance training with her. When Whedon cast Glau as River, he specifically requested fight choreography that incorporated ballet. River wasn't supposed to fight like a soldier. She fought like a dancer with violent precision. Glau performed all her own stunts and fight scenes, no stunt double. Her background allowed her to execute incredibly complex choreography that looked effortless. The famous River fight scene in the film Serenity, where she takes on dozens of Reavers, was choreographed as a violent ballet. Glau spent weeks in rehearsals perfecting every movement. Her dance training meant she could repeat complex sequences identically across multiple takes. Other actors needed stunt doubles for their action scenes. Glau did everything herself. Cast members were in awe of her physical abilities. Nathan Fillion later said, "Watching Glau work was like watching an artist paint with her body." The tragedy is, Fox never appreciated what they had. Summer Glau's unique skills made River Tam's violence beautiful and terrifying simultaneously. Her performance was revolutionary for television action choreography. Number 16. Fox aired episodes completely out of order, which destroyed narrative continuity and character development. Across the season,
Serenity Valley, and we choked them with those words. We've done the impossible. That makes us mighty. Just a little while longer.
Looking for some action next week? We're running.
Change course.
There's something you can't do.
Fox didn't just air the wrong pilot first. They scrambled the entire episode order, destroying Joss Whedon's carefully planned story arcs. Whedon wrote Firefly with specific character development building across episodes. Relationships evolved, trust developed, backstories were revealed gradually. Fox ignored the intended order completely. Episode 3 aired 5th. Episode 6 aired 3rd. Episode 10 aired 8th. The continuity was shattered. In one episode, Kaylee references events that hadn't happened yet in the airing order. Characters have arguments that make no sense without context from previous unaired episodes. Viewers were constantly confused. Why is Jane suddenly loyal when he was antagonistic last week? Why do Mal and Inara seem closer when they were distant before? The chaos was deliberate. Fox wanted to air episodes they considered more action-oriented earlier to hook viewers. They didn't care about story coherence. Whedon begged them to follow his intended order. Fox refused. Cast members were frustrated watching their character arcs destroyed. Jewel Staite said it was like reading a book with chapters scrambled. The emotional journey made no sense. When Firefly hit DVD in the correct order, fans were shocked. The show suddenly made perfect sense. Every relationship and plot point flowed naturally. Fox's interference had hidden a masterpiece behind their incompetence. Number 15. Alan Tudyk wasn't supposed to die in Serenity, and Joss Whedon added the death, last minute to shock. Audiences which traumatized. The cast...
Watch out.
Wash! Baby! Baby, no! Baby, come on, you gotta go! Baby, come on, you gotta go! Come on! We gotta move! Baby, please! You gotta move, baby, come on!
Wash's demise in Serenity wasn't in the original script. Joss Whedon added it last minute as a shocking moment, and it devastated Alan Tudyk and the cast. The movie script originally had Wash survive. Everyone made it through. Happy ending. Whedon rewrote the climax weeks before filming. He decided major character death would raise stakes and prove anyone could die. Whedon called Tudyk personally to explain the change. Tudyk was devastated. He'd thought Wash's story was continuing. Whedon told him the death needed to be sudden and brutal to have impact. Tudyk accepted it professionally, but was heartbroken. When they filmed the death scene, the emotional reaction from the other actors was genuine. Nathan Fillion, Gina Torres, and the crew weren't acting. They were processing the loss of their friend's character. The scene required multiple takes because actors kept breaking down. Gina Torres, who played Wash's wife Zoe, couldn't stop crying between takes. The trauma affected filming for days. Cast members avoided the cockpit set where Wash died. Alan Tudyk later admitted the death haunted him. Fans were outraged. Some never forgave Whedon. Tudyk's demise served narrative purpose, but destroyed something precious. The cast lost their comedic heart. Firefly's joy died with Wash on that harpoon. Number 14. Ron Glass, who played Shepard Book, was the only cast member over 40, and he felt isolated from the younger actors who bonded without him.
I play Shepard Book, who's a kind of all-around good guy. Who also,
I'm beginning to think she married beneath herself.
How do you know about the training?
Ron Glass had a different experience on Firefly than the rest of the cast, and it was lonely. Glass was 57 when the show was filmed. The rest of the cast were in their 20s and 30s. Nathan Fillion was 31. Gina Torres was 33. Alan Tudyk was 31. Summer Glau was 21. The age gap created natural division. The younger cast members became incredibly close. They'd hang out after filming, go to bars, and party on weekends. Glass wasn't included, not because they disliked him. The age difference just created separate social circles. Glass would finish filming and go home alone. He'd watch the younger actors laughing together and feel disconnected. Glass later admitted in interviews he felt like a grandfather rather than a peer. The book was written as mysterious and isolated. Glass's real isolation informed the performance. The character's distance from the crew mirrored Glass's distance from the cast. When the show was canceled, Glass was relieved in some ways. He'd felt like an outsider for months. The younger cast was devastated. For them, Firefly was family. For Glass, it was a job where he never quite fit. When Ron Glass died in 2016 at age 70, the Firefly cast reunited for his funeral. They finally included him in death. Number 13. Morena Baccarin was pregnant. During the Serenity movie, filming in her pregnancy was hidden through strategic camera angles and loose costumes.
Find out I'm testing the next day and then start work the day after that. It was so fast and it was mind-blowing. I remember going down from my network.
Morena Baccarin discovered she was pregnant shortly before filming the Serenity movie, and production had to hide it completely. Baccarin played Inara Serra, the elegant companion. The character's appearance was crucial. Inara wore form-fitting, costumes showcasing her beauty. Pregnancy would destroy the aesthetic. Baccarin told Whedon about the pregnancy immediately. He assured her they'd work around it. Costume designers created flowing robes and dresses that concealed her growing belly. Cinematographers shot Baccarin from chest up or positioned furniture and props strategically. Action scenes were minimal for Inara in the film, partly because of Baccarin's condition. The cast knew and protected Baccarin completely. During table reads and rehearsals, they'd accommodate her need for breaks and comfort. Baccarin was terrified she'd be replaced. Whedon never considered it. The hiding worked perfectly. The audience had no idea. Baccarin gave birth shortly after filming wrapped. Looking back at the movie, knowing she was pregnant, you can spot the careful framing, but at the time, nobody noticed. Morena Baccarin's pregnancy was hidden through movie magic and cast loyalty. Inara remained elegant, while Baccarin grew new life secretly beneath flowing silk. Number 12. Fox promoted Firefly as a comedy rather than a drama, which attracted wrong audiences and created false expectations.
Looking for some action next week?
We're running.
Change course. There's something you can't do.
Fox's marketing for Firefly was so incompetent, it sabotaged the show before it aired. Network marketers watched early episodes and decided to promote Firefly as a comedy. Ads focused on Wash's one-liners and Jane's stupidity. Promos made the show look like a sitcom in space. Audiences tuning in for comedy found a dark character-driven drama about survivors in a fascist universe. The tonal mismatch was extreme. Viewers expecting laughs got traumatized by war veterans and government conspiracy. They felt deceived and tuned out. Whedon was furious when he saw the marketing. He'd created a serious science fiction drama with humor as seasoning. Fox sold it as space laughs. He demanded they change the marketing strategy. Fox refused. They had already spent the advertising budget. The comedy angle persisted throughout the show's brief run. Critics reviewing the premiere were confused by the tonal disconnect between ads and content. Audiences who would have loved Firefly's actual tone never tuned in because the marketing told them it was something else. Fox's marketing department killed the show as effectively as their scheduling did. They attracted the wrong audience while repelling the right one. Firefly was marketed as everything it wasn't. Number 11. The cast bonded so intensely during filming that they got matching tattoos after cancellation and still vacation. Together, decades later.
Right.
And I bet there are a lot of people in China going, what the hell are they saying?
Just get ourselves a little further.
The Firefly cast developed one of the closest bonds in television history, and it continues 20 years later. Unlike Saved by the Bell, where the cast hated each other, Firefly's cast became a genuine family. The production was difficult. Fox's interference created adversity that bonded everyone. They'd defend each other against network criticism. Between takes, they'd improvise and play. After filming, they'd go to dinner, together constantly. Nathan Fillion hosted game nights at his house every weekend. When Fox canceled the show, the cast was devastated not about careers, but about losing daily time together. After cancellation, several cast members got matching tattoos of serenity. Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk, and others have the ship tattooed on their bodies. They still vacation together. Gina Torres and Morena Baccarin remained close friends. Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk work together constantly and are best friends. The cast reunites publicly for conventions and privately for birthdays and holidays. When Ron Glass died, the entire cast attended his funeral crying together. The Firefly cast is what Saved by the Bell pretended to be. Genuine lifelong friendship born from shared struggle. 20 years later, they still love each other. Fox canceled the show, but couldn't kill the family it created. Number 10. Joss Whedon wrote the entire series. As a response to living under the Bush administration, Mal Reynolds was deliberately anti-authoritarian political commentary.
Hi, welcome to the interweb. Firefly, a lot of people are asking me, what exactly is Firefly?
Just focus! The Lions said they were going to waltz through Serenity Valley, and we choked them with those words.
Firefly wasn't just a space adventure. It was Joss Whedon's political manifesto against authoritarianism disguised as entertainment. Whedon created the show in 2001 during George W. Bush's presidency. The September 11th attacks had just happened. The Patriot Act was passing. Whedon watched America embrace authoritarian security measures. The alliance in Firefly represented everything Whedon feared about government overreach: surveillance, mind control, forced conformity. The show's heroes were literal rebels fighting against centralized power. Malcolm Reynolds was Whedon's ideal American, independent, distrustful of authority, fighting for individual freedom. Every episode contained political subtext. Safe criticized religious persecution. Ariel attacked corporate healthcare. The Message examined military exploitation. Fox executives were oblivious to the politics. If they had understood, they might have canceled it even faster. Whedon hid radical leftist politics inside a space western. Conservative audiences loved Mal without realizing he represented everything their politics opposed. The beautiful irony was, right-wing fans embraced a character created specifically to criticize right-wing authoritarianism. Firefly worked as pure entertainment, but operated as political resistance. Whedon's genius was making the message invisible until you looked closely. The show Fox canceled was the most subversive thing on network television. Number 9. Adam Baldwin, who played Jane, was a conservative Republican on set with a cast of liberal Democrats, which created ideological tension. Adam Baldwin's politics created complicated dynamics on the Firefly set that nobody discussed publicly. Baldwin played Jane Cobb, the mercenary muscle. Off-screen, Baldwin was an outspoken conservative Republican. The rest of the cast and Whedon were liberal Democrats. Political discussions on set were carefully avoided. Cast members knew Baldwin's views and chose not to engage. Baldwin knew he was surrounded by people who disagreed with him fundamentally. The tension was managed through professionalism and silence. But it was there. Joss Whedon wrote Firefly as anti-authoritarian leftist commentary. Adam Baldwin performed it, believing different things. The character Jane was selfish, mercenary, and morally questionable. Baldwin brought genuine ideological differences to the role. He wasn't pretending. His conservatism informed Jane's every move. The irony is, Jane became a fan favorite among both liberal and conservative viewers. Liberals saw Jane as a critique of selfishness. Conservatives saw him as pragmatic realism. Baldwin later became controversial on social media for his political statements. Some Firefly fans felt betrayed, learning Jane's actor held views they opposed. Others separated the actor from the character. The Firefly cast's close bond had one notable exception. Adam Baldwin was professionally included, but ideologically isolated. Politics created a wall that friendship couldn't fully cross. Number 8. Fox executives wanted Inara to be a prostitute instead of a companion and fought Whedon over making SX work. Respectable Joss. Whedon's vision of Inara as a respected companion was revolutionary, and Fox hated it. Whedon created the companion concept deliberately. In Firefly's universe, companions were highly trained, elite SX workers with social status exceeding most professions. They were respected, educated, and powerful. Fox executives were confused and angry. Why isn't she ashamed? Why doesn't she want to quit? Why is she treated with respect? They wanted Inara to be a traditional prostitute with a heart of gold, trying to escape her shameful profession. Whedon refused. He'd created Inara specifically to challenge SX work stigma. Fox pushed for storylines where Inara felt degraded or wanted to change careers. Whedon wrote the opposite. Inara loved her work and was proud of it. The conflict was ideological. Fox represented conservative sexual values. Whedon represented SX positive feminism. Fox executives complained that Inara made SX work look appealing. That was exactly Whedon's intent. He wanted to normalize and dignify work that society demonized. Fox's discomfort with empowered Inara contributed to their hatred of the show. She represented values they opposed. Inara Sara was radical feminist politics wrapped in silk and intelligence. Fox wanted a fallen woman seeking redemption. Whedon gave them a woman who needed no saving. Number 7. The show's cancellation was announced before the final episodes aired and the cast learned they were fired from entertainment.
And we knew at this point that the show was gone. And it's beautifully shot in the snow.
Fox canceled Firefly with such callousness that the cast learned they were unemployed from reading Variety. The network made the cancellation decision in December 2002, after 11 episodes had aired. Fox didn't inform Joss Whedon or the cast directly. They released the information to trade publications first. Entertainment Weekly and Variety published the cancellation news. Cast members read about losing their jobs online and in newspapers. Nathan Fillion found out from a friend who called, asking if he'd heard. Jewel Staite learned from her agent who'd read Variety. Nobody from Fox called them. No meeting, no explanation, just a public announcement that they were canceled. The cast was devastated and humiliated. 3 more episodes had been filmed but not yet aired. They had been working on a show that was already dead. Fox aired the final episodes in random order over the following weeks with minimal promotion. The show that Fox had sabotaged from day one was killed without dignity. Cast members later described the cancellation as traumatic. They'd lost not just a job, but their family. And Fox couldn't even respect them enough to tell them personally. The network that had never wanted Firefly made sure its death was as cruel as possible. Number 6. Jewel Staite, who played Kaylee, was 19 years old and dating an abusive older man during filming, who isolated her from the cast.
Oh, Kaylee, what's the news?
I'm shy. Captain okay. You're gonna come with us.
Excuse me?
You like ships. You don't seem to be looking at the destinations.
Jewel Staite's experience on Firefly was darker than anyone knew. Staite was 19 when cast as Kaylee Fry, the ship's mechanic. She was the youngest main cast member alongside Summer Glau. Staite was in a relationship with an older man who was controlling and isolating. The boyfriend would show up on set and monitor Staite between takes. He'd call constantly. Cast members noticed Staite seemed withdrawn and anxious. She'd decline invitations to cast dinners, claiming her boyfriend didn't want her going. The isolation was deliberate. Nathan Fillion and others recognized signs of abusive relationship, but didn't know how to intervene. Staite later admitted the relationship was emotionally abusive. Her boyfriend was jealous of her career and tried to sabotage her relationships with castmates. He'd accuse her of flirting with Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. Staite was too young to recognize the manipulation. She missed out on the cast bonding that defined Firefly because her boyfriend controlled her. After the show ended, Staite finally left the relationship. She reconnected with her Firefly family and realized what she'd missed. Jewel Staite played Firefly's most joyful character, while trapped in a relationship that was slowly destroying her. Kaylee's sunshine hid Jewel's darkness. Number 5. Universal gave Joss Whedon final cut. On the Serenity movie, as apology for Fox's treatment, but test audiences hated it and demanded changes.
Of all worlds, as far as being a pleasant place to work, enjoying the stories I was telling, enjoying the dialogue.
CGI shots we did and everything, just sort of haphazard and embracing the zoom lens and not covering things.
Universal Studios gave Joss Whedon unprecedented control over the Serenity movie as an apology for what Fox had done. Universal executives were Firefly fans who'd watched Fox destroy it. When they greenlit the film in 2004, they promised Whedon final cut. Whatever Whedon wanted, he'd get. No interference, no notes, complete creative freedom. Whedon delivered a 2-hour, 20-minute cut that he considered perfect. Universal held test screenings. Audiences hated it. The movie was too long, too dark, and too focused on the river. Fans wanted more Mal. Test scores were terrible. Universal executives were in crisis. They'd promised a final cut, but had a movie testing poorly. They approached Whedon carefully and showed him the data. Whedon saw the numbers and agreed to make changes. He cut 20 minutes, restructured the opening, and added more action. The revised cut tested much better, but it tortured Whedon. He'd finally had full control and still had to compromise. The director's cut of Serenity doesn't exist because Whedon destroyed it. He couldn't stand watching his original vision knowing it didn't work. The theatrical version is the compromise. Universal gave Whedon freedom, but audiences took it away. Even with no network interference, Whedon couldn't win completely. The movie succeeded, but always felt incomplete to him. Number 4. Fox burned off the final episodes on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, deliberately to hide the show's final moments.
We're running. Change course. There's something you can't do.
Close to being near to me too. The Firefly has approximately 25 friends that I came from that.
Fox was so petty about canceling Firefly that they buried the final episodes on holidays when nobody was watching. After announcing cancellation in December 2002, Fox still had 3 unaired episodes. Normal networks would air them properly as closure. Fox scheduled 2 episodes for Christmas Eve, 1 more for New Year's Eve, the worst possible time slots. Families were traveling, celebrating, not watching television. Fox knew this. That was the point. They didn't want anyone to see Firefly's final episodes. The crew was devastated. They'd put everything into those episodes knowing they were the last. Fox threw them away on nights when ratings would be lowest. The episodes aired with no promotion, no goodbye announcement, no acknowledgement this was the end. Firefly just disappeared on New Year's Eve at 2002. Fans who'd been following the show missed the finale because they were at holiday parties. Those who were watching television chose specials over random Firefly episodes. The ratings were abysmal because nobody was home. Fox used those low numbers to justify cancellation retroactively. Look, nobody cared about the final episodes. The cruelty was calculated. Fox had sabotaged Firefly from premiere to finale. Burying the ending on holidays was final disrespect. Joss Whedon never forgave them. Number 3. Joss Whedon had a complete 7-season plan for Firefly, and the buried secrets about River Shepard. Book and Inara would have revolutionized television.
What?
Bible's broken. Contradictions, false logistics. Too much hair.
Book is a bit useless.
Wish like hell you was elsewhere.
Firefly's cancellation didn't just call one season. It called 7 seasons of a planned story that would have changed television. Whedon had mapped out complete arcs for every character across 7 seasons. River's secret, Book's past, Inara's terminal illness. River wasn't just a damage girl. She'd been turned into the perfect assassin by the Alliance, but retained humanity. Her journey toward recovery while being hunted was a 7-season arc. Shepard Book wasn't a preacher. He was a former Alliance operative who'd done terrible things and sought redemption. His backstory explained why the Alliance feared him. Inara was dying. She had a terminal illness. That's why she'd left the companion house and joined Serenity. She was spending her final years living freely. Her romance with Mal was tragic because she knew she was dying and couldn't tell him. Whedon planned to reveal this gradually. Each season would peel back layers. By season 7, every secret would be exposed and resolved. The Alliance would fall, the crew would win. But it would cost everything. Fox canceled this before any of it could unfold. Whedon revealed fragments in comics and interviews, but the complete story died with the show. Television lost a masterpiece. Firefly's cancellation was the erasure of one of the greatest unwritten stories in science fiction history. Number 2. Nathan Fillion tried to buy the rights to Firefly multiple times and was rejected every time by Fox, who won't sell out of spite.
Show. I try to describe the show sometimes as a sci-fi show, and I don't get very far. It's hard to explain. People don't really get a grasp of it. So I try to describe it more so as a Western.
I feel it's because it was a very good show. It was really well done. They had wonderful people with it.
Nathan Fillion has spent 20 years trying to resurrect Firefly, and Fox has refused every offer out of pure spite. After cancellation, Fillion became obsessed with reviving the show. He'd made money from Castle and other projects. In 2011, he publicly stated if he won the lottery, he'd buy Firefly rights and restart it. Fans loved the idea. Fillion was serious. He approached Fox executives through his agents multiple times. He offered to purchase the rights. Fox refused. No negotiation, just no. Fillion increased his offers. Fox still refused. In 2014, after Castle made him wealthy, Fillion made another offer. millions of dollars for the Firefly rights. Fox rejected it again. The reason wasn't financial. Fox didn't want Firefly to succeed without them. If Fillion bought the rights and made it successful, Fox would look foolish for canceling it. Their ego couldn't accept that. They'd rather own dead rights than let Firefly live elsewhere. Fillion tried again in 2019. Fox, now owned by Disney, still said no. The spike continues. Disney has no plans for Firefly, but won't sell to Fillion. Nathan Fillion could resurrect the show he loves. He has the money and the will, but Fox's corporate pride keeps Firefly dead. The captain can't save his ship because the alliance that culled it won't let go. Number 1, Joss Whedon has stated that Firefly's cancellation was the most painful moment of his career, and he fell into deep depression. For years afterward,
we begin this special screening. I have a little story I want to tell you. It's about a TV show called Firefly, canceled shows of the year. It was ignored and abandoned, and the story should end there.
Firefly's cancellation didn't just end a show. It broke Joss Whedon in ways he's still not fully recovered from. Whedon had created Buffy and Angel. He'd survived network interference before, but Firefly was different. It was his most personal work. The show represented everything Whedon believed about freedom, family, and resistance. When Fox canceled it, Whedon fell into severe depression. He stopped writing for months, couldn't leave his house. Friends were worried he might hurt himself. Whedon later admitted he'd never been that low in his life. Firefly's failure felt like personal failure. He'd created something perfect and watched it destroyed by people who didn't understand it. The depression lasted years. Making Serenity helped temporarily, but the movie's underperformance deepened the pain. Whedon couldn't let go. He'd dream about continuing the story. He'd write scenes for episodes that would never exist. Friends said Whedon was haunted by Firefly's ghost. Even after the Avengers made him the most successful director in Hollywood, Firefly's loss hurt. In interviews, Whedon would tear up discussing the cancellation. 20 years later, it still wounds him. Firefly wasn't just a show Whedon created. It was the show that broke him. The ship flew, then it crashed, and the captain has never fully recovered from watching it burn. Bonus fact, Fox executives who canceled Firefly later admitted it was the biggest mistake in network history, but still won't allow a revival.
Technology to keep you alive and proceed.
And she came in and it was like, hello, and this is Alan. She said, oh, I know Alan.
In a stunning admission, Fox executives finally acknowledged what everyone knew. Canceling Firefly was a catastrophic error. In 2015, retired Fox executive Gail Berman gave an interview admitting Firefly's cancellation was the biggest mistake of my career. Other Fox executives made similar admissions over the years. They'd watched Firefly become a cult phenomenon through DVD sales. Netflix streaming introduced it to millions more. The show they'd killed became more popular dead than it ever was alive. Admission felt like vindication for fans and Whedon. Finally, Fox acknowledged their incompetence. But the admission changed nothing. Fox still won't greenlight a revival. Now, Disney owns Fox and won't touch Firefly either. The executives who admit the mistake won't fix it. They'll say, we were wrong, but not, let's make it right. The corporate structure that culled Firefly won't allow its resurrection even when everyone admits culling it was wrong. Firefly remains the show that could have been. The executives who destroyed it feel bad. But not bad enough to actually do anything about it. The admission without action is more insulting than silence. You can't aim to misbehave when you're not allowed to fly at all. The ship stays grounded, forever. Firefly wasn't just a canceled show. It was sabotage, heartbreak, and the greatest story television never got to tell. You can't take the sky from us even when they try.